Okay.
I called it. We're going.
All right.
Just kind of, where are you at with your recovery and your timeline?
So I've thrown 7 pins, which is a good amount, just coming through like an off season. I'll throw another pin, I think Sunday, and then probably a couple more, and then looking to face hitters. I'd love to get in some games toward the end of camp, and from there probably break to AAA. It's been a little while since I've really faced competition. Spring training's good, but it's not. There's still a little bit of a gap from spring to the season, so I think we all feel it would be the best to try to get a game or two under my belt down here in Florida, and then probably go to AAA before making the decision to join back.
Stuff-wise, just how are your pitches?
They're great. Yeah, I'm throwing all my pitches, so I'm not like waiting on anything. The fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, cutter, the whole thing. So it was like up to 90 the other day in the bullpen, which is really good for me, and been happy with the progress and all that stuff. So it's been a good off season. I'm in a really great spot.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where you at in intensity?
I mean, I actually went back to 2021 and just was watching my film from spring, and the velo is pretty much where I was. So my first live in 2021, I was like 89 to 91. So I'm pretty much in that range right now. The fastball velocity is really solid. The off speed is in the curveball slider like in the upper 70s, so I'm not too far away from game speed. And once again, it's bullpen. I'm trying not to. I think in the past I've made some mistakes during the rehab process, like trying to force velocity in the bullpen because I wanted to see those numbers, and I think that's been part of some of the setbacks. So just kind of taking every day with in the bullpen with what it gives me, and I'm sure my body will move the way it's supposed to when the hitters are in game situation.
Joe was talking about how you've handled this process better than he probably ever could. Just the ups and the downs, the whole process. Like, how do you feel mentally at this point, getting as far as it feels like you have in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a really good spot. I mean, mentally, physically, I have a very strong sense of faith, and that's been very important to me through my whole career. But no more than the last couple of years, just knowing that I just have to do the work, and God has a plan for me, and walking the path, the long journey, I guess. And so I'm very happy with just the way things have gone this off season. I feel in a great spot physically and mentally, responding really well to all the off speeds and the velo bumps, and we've condensed the amount of time I'm throwing my bullpens. It was first it was once a week, then it was two times a week, and now it's every 3 or 4 days. So responding to everything accordingly, and it's just a really strong sense of faith, knowing that I'm putting the work in. It's frustrating for me, and when I have setbacks or I can't get out there, but at the end of the day, I know I put the work and do the right stuff that I have to in order to get out there. If it's not happening for me, then it's not the time.
I'm asking this only because Dana at the winter meetings alluded to there could be some talk about it. You plan on building up as a starter, correct?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I don't think that's an easy job. And being a reliever, I think a lot of times, people almost say, "Whoa, just make him a reliever." I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. To be a reliever at the big league level, it's not like a fallback position. I think that it's doing a disservice to the guys who are in that role. It's very specific. It's very hard, and I don't think pitching, back-to-back days or even 3 out of 4 days. For me, I think it's physically harder. I think the things that the guys in the bullpen have to deal with throughout a long season, the ups and downs in usages, not really knowing when they're going to be called upon sometimes. That's a harder, in my opinion, it's a harder job. It's a harder way to stay healthy. And so, like I said, it's not just something that you can just decide you wake up one day and feel like, being a reliever. It's a very specific job. I think suggesting otherwise is a disservice to the guys in the bullpen that have, in our pen and in every pen around the league. And so, for me, I'm interested in doing what I've always done. It's what I know. It's what I feel like I can give this team, the most success in.
Do you feel like, just to clarify, do you feel like the setbacks last season, those came from trying to ramp up too quickly, or?
I mean, so, there's a lot of things throughout rehab processes that, we keep internal. So I had surgery in June of 2023. When I went in for surgery, we were expecting a very minor surgery. We were expecting a flexor repair, like a very minor flexor repair. What I had was a flexor replacement. So my flexor was off the bone, and so they had to drill more holes, do an internal brace, bring the flexor back through my bone. And when I woke up from surgery, the prognosis on time was 15 plus months. So 15 plus months from when I had surgery would have been like middle-ish September of last year. But Elytros was very upfront with me, saying it could take 15, 16, 17, 18 months. So it was my decision to try and make it back on the 15-month timeline. And when I had the little setback in June, that just wasn't going to be possible. So I don't think it's I don't think it was any, we were just pushing for a goal, and it just didn't happen.
You've seen this team over the years lose several stars, several leaders in this clubhouse. Now, obviously, Alex is gone. Who do you see stepping up? How does this team continuously just replace guys that seem irreplaceable in the moment?
I'm not sure, honestly. I think time will tell. I think last year a lot of guys stepped up. Hunter took a big, massive leap forward. Spencer stepped in and played phenomenal for us. In years past, you've seen Dubon, step up for us. You've seen Chaz step up in huge moments for us to help us win a World Series. So I feel like we always have guys that are willing to, that are able to kind of, rise and meet that challenge. Obviously, we're bringing some new guys in. Christian Walker's a phenomenal player. Paredes as well. We have some other guys that we've brought in too. So looking for everyone to kind of step up. I think we have a great overall pitching staff, top to bottom. You can't replace Kyle Tucker, you can't replace Alex Bregman, but other guys can step up and play well. I think collectively as a group, we still have a great team to make a run in the West.
Were you surprised at all about how this offseason went, about some of the moves that were made?
I think so. I think everyone was a little bit surprised, but that's not what we're here for. I mean, at the end of the day, we're just members of the team. We're just players, so we have to just do the best we can do it. But I understand the moves. I understand that for many years we had a window, and it seemed like we were keeping all of our guys around. You look across the league, not too many teams are keeping star players all the way to free agency, and then they're leaving. We've done that here as a commitment, I think, to the fans to carry through all of our star players to try to win in the window we have. And so I think the move with Kyle, really kind of listening to what Dana was talking about, was more of a not going to probably bring him back. So looking to bring in some guys to help us win, and some guys in the future as well. So at the end of the day, like I said, I still think we have a great team. We just have to play well and stay healthy.
What does that tell you about the trajectory maybe of the franchise? Where do you kind of think that is right now?
Well, for me, I think it's you look at a lot of teams that go through amazing periods of time, not necessarily as long as we had, but other teams, they build up, they have a nice 2 or 3 year run, make some playoffs, maybe win or go to a World Series, and then they kind of fade for a while. And then they kind of have to do the whole rebuilding process. I think what you're seeing happen in front of our eyes is the team trying to stay actively competitive. I think they're trying to continue to put good teams on the field that have a true chance to win the West and a chance to make runs in the playoffs. So I think the trajectory is good. I think it's much better than a lot of clubs that have a lot of success and then ultimately have to go into a massive rebuild for many, many years to come, through the draft and things of that nature. I think we have, Hader sticking around for quite some time. You have Altuve, Yordan, Yainer Diaz. I mean, we have a lot of really, Hunter Brown, a lot of really great players that are here that are going to be here for years to come.
It's been 8 years, but it's kind of hard to believe you and Jose are the only ones left from the 2017 team.
Yeah, so Centrone said that this morning. He came up to me and was like, you and two are the only guys left. I mean, but I honestly look at it as a blessing, just to be able to be with that group of guys for so long and be in a window of true the Astros in a window of true dominance for so long. I mean, that's not something you see very often. You even have the massive franchises. Obviously, you're starting to see the Dodgers look that way now and things of that nature. But it's very hard to be that good for that long. So I know people. It's a new look club, and it's maybe coming out of the chute. We're like a little bit more step by step. Hey, let's get out of the gate hot. Let's win. Let's put ourselves in a situation to win the West, and then move to the playoffs versus showing up to camp and saying it's World Series or bust. But I mean. I think we still have a really great team. And I think fans, should be very happy for the time that we've had, and I think excited for the future.
Understanding that you never want to look too far ahead in rehab processes, are you at a point where you can start to think about how you want to impact this team this season?
Well, I mean, if you look at, if I can get in, I think when I breach games, if I can, when I do that here in camp, the timeline will get shorter, and I think the window of return, we'll get there. But we have, I'm going to hopefully face hitters here in the next couple weeks, and then hopefully get into some games in March, and then get into the rehab games, and then you're looking at, I think I can only go on rehab for 25 days or 30 days, something like that. So when I break for AAA, there's a pretty clear timeline and indication of when I will be able to come back, and then you pencil me in for hopefully impacting this club in the rotation for the rest of the season.
Are you still in the subcommittee of the union?
I'm not, no.
Okay, so are you, who's the player? Are you still a player rep?
Tucker was, so yeah. I think I got 2 kids and rehab and other things. I got too much going on for that. Yeah, so I'm not really sure. I mean, I'll always be involved in the union. I'm very proud of our union and what we've accomplished over the time that we've been a union, but I'm not as active anymore.
Follow up, I guess, in general, what the Dodgers have done this offseason, there's been a lot of talk about a salary cap and things like that. Where do you stand on? I know where the players in general stand on the salary cap, but just as you guys go in next year to be some big negotiations, kind of where do you stand with that?
I don't view anything the Dodgers are doing as bad for baseball. I don't view it as they are a team that is a big market club, and that's there's other big market clubs in the big leagues. There's the Yankees, there's the Mets, and then there's the Red Sox, the Cubs. I mean, there are other massive markets, and they think they have a window of opportunity to win, and they're going for it. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Other clubs are doing very similar things as well, and then you have some clubs that are kind of in between. But I don't see what the Dodgers are doing as bad for baseball. At the end of the day, the favorite out of spring training doesn't always win. You have a long season. Playoffs are wild, and people have to stay healthy. So I mean, there's the CBT, which effectively is used as a salary cap by most owners, and there's penalties as you go along that. So I guess it's just up to the individual club and the owner and the front office on how much they want to spend, how much they want to pay in penalties. And if they don't, they just don't go over it. So, I mean, people use the CBT as a salary cap. Other teams use it as a penalty system. So I don't think anything is wrong with the way any team decides to go about their business.
You guys good?
Yeah.
Thank you.